fix this. Okay? So calling the election board meeting at 5:25 to order.
Okay. All right, good afternoon. I'm just providing a brief update on election proceedings for the primary. We conducted adjudication on Friday. We obtained unofficial, uncertified results. Among the different acts that the Board of Elections had to do was make some decisions on certain irregular ballots. There was a few that were noteworthy. There was a series of 7 ballots that did not have dates on the ballot envelope, which is the outside envelope. The Board of Elections decided to count those, and though they were segregated and counted in a separate batch. Another set that was also of interest was 2 ballots that did not have the secrecy envelope sealed. And the Board of Elections decided to not count and decided to set aside those 2 ballots. So, of note, with the first set of the ballots with the undated outside envelope is that the Dave McCormick campaign has filed 2 separate lawsuits, one in the Commonwealth Court and one in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, naming most of the county's boards of elections in the Commonwealth as defendants and seeking relief, asking for those ballots to be counted. This is in light of a decision by the Third Circuit in what's called the Migliore case that involved a judicial race for the Court of Common Pleas position in Lehigh County that was the subject of a federal lawsuit where a 3-judge panel held that the requirement in Act 77, Pennsylvania's election law, that the outside envelope must be dated is a violation of the Voting Rights Act because it was immaterial because it was an error that was immaterial to a person's eligibility and qualifications to vote. So the McCormick campaign is arguing that in these lawsuits that Act 77 is unconstitutional, and that it's also a violation of the Voting Rights Act. Because the board voted to count those ballots, Warren County Board of Elections is essentially along for the ride. We're essentially in conformance with what the McCormick campaign has required, and then the Board of Elections also received guidance from the Department of State to handle the ballots in the manner that has already been done here, which is to count the ballots but keep them segregated. So with regard to these other 2 ballots where the inner envelope was not sealed, we received requests from the McCormick campaign for a hearing on those 2 ballots. That hearing is going to be conducted in the Commissioner's room Friday at 10 a.m. And the notice will be issued to the parties. It's not a requirement for public advertisement. It's a quasi-judicial proceeding. So while there's been correspondence from the McCormick campaign insisting or exhorting the local boards of elections to count ballots where the inner envelope is unsealed, they have not taken any action in court on that argument yet. So that's the sum of our activity. We think once that hearing is held, the Board of Elections makes a final decision. We'll be able to finish our recount and should be able to shortly conclude our involvement in the 2022 primary notwithstanding the, any additional necessary participation in these lawsuits that have been commenced. Thanks.
Thank you.
Crystal, anything to add?
On the lighter side, I think that the election went off really well. We did great. Big thank you to all of our coworkers. They showed up, they did the work, and there was no issue. Today at 2, there's a live stream to see if there is a recount, and if there is, I would like to do that on Friday directly after the hearing.
Okay,
Great.
great job. We left, what, at 11:30 or something?
Yeah, we left at a good
Or
time.
like 11. Yeah, it was pretty early, all things considered. Very good. Did we have any minutes or anything to approve?
Yep.
All right, well, I'll take a motion to approve the March 11th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 11th, May 11th meeting minutes.
A second, discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. I'll go ahead and adjourn the election board meeting. Now, on to the commissioners' meeting of May 25th. And everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded and the 7th meeting is part of public record. Since the last time the board met, we have had one informational meeting that was on the 12th, and that was with Alan Dornfest to review the ratio study draft. We are now in possession, I believe, of the final version of that, and we'll be presenting it at the public COG meeting next Wednesday. We also met twice on legal matters. Once was this morning, personnel and the election litigation just mentioned, and once was on the 10th, and that was to seek legal counsel on several matters. This time I would ask if there's any public comment. Hearing none. You see the agenda before you and the minutes in your packet. If they meet with your approval, we'll move on to the finance report.
Finance report for Wednesday, May 25th. There's $1,495,298 in the general fund account. There's $745,085 in the Erie Bank savings account, for a grand total of $2,240,384. In the American Rescue Fund account, there's $2,797,644.17. And in the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, there's $2,079,648.97. To date, we borrowed $500,000 from our savings account and $750,000 from the American Rescue Plan.
Very good. Any questions? Hearing none. There's no HR report, no proclamations. So at this time, I would ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Motion made and properly seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. No old business. On new business. First, we have a tax settlement with Walmart. Attorney Schmidt, did you wish to say anything about it?
This had been scheduled for trial, and county's counsel, like you saw through Knox McLaughlin, helped negotiate a settlement of this matter, and I approved for settlement.
Good. So this would be between Walmart Real Estate Business Trust, Warren County Board of Assessment Appeals, Warren County, Warren County School District, and Tonawanda Township. Discussed this at length in a previous executive session with the school district. Is there anything that you wish to say about it or ask?
I think we've had lots of input. So
All All right, then I'd ask for a motion to approve the tax settlement with Walmart.
I'll make a motion to approve the tax settlement for Walmart.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Next, agreement with Tyler Technologies for AP automation. This was presented to us in the work session on Monday. Are there any additional questions for Riley?
Yeah, you did a good job explaining what it was all about.
Good. Then hearing no questions, could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Tyler Technologies for AP automation.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Next, we have a government software services agreement. I believe Riley also presented about that on, oh no, that was not you. I'm sorry.
This is assessment.
Sorry. Oh, this is GSS. Oh, okay. So it's an agreement for computer services with GSS for assessment. That's right. Any questions? Do you need time to review the agreement? Very good. Then could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the agreement with GSS.
I'll second.
I reviewed it and approved it.
Okay. Yep, this is for, by the way, school billing. Motion was made and properly seconded. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next, ADP. Again, that was the one that Riley presented at the work session. Any questions for her?
No?
Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with ADP in the amount of $5,103.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Discussion. All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, appointment to the Transit Authority. Received a letter dated May 16th asking, from Wendy Albaugh from the Talk, asking that we replace Al Hendricks with Eric Krantz and reappoint Gene Conklin and Michael Montecalvo to the board. Any questions for me? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve these appointments?
I'll make a motion to approve the appointments to the Transit Authority Board.
I'll second.
Is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I just say that these are all, the two that are reappointments have been consistently in the meetings. I think that Eric Krantz would be a good addition to it. He's got an IT background and would be able to help them on the technology side, which is a good thing.
Okay.
All right, motion was made and seconded to approve Eric Krantz, Gene Conklin, and Michael Montecalvo. That would be 4 terms.
Oh, yeah, serving 5
So it'd be June 30 of this year through the end of Mr. Hendricks' term, and then Gene Conklin and Michael Montecalvo would be effective July 1st for a 5-year renewal. All those in favor of those appointments, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next, resolution 3214. This would be with Palmetto Posting to render posting services for the tax claim office. Standard, we do this every year. I believe it was brought up on Monday. Are there any questions for the Tax Claim Bureau? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve resolution 3214?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 3214.
I'll second.
And I believe the understanding would be then to amend their agreement with them as is in the packet. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
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 Motion carries. Letter of support for EMS related to House Bill 2434. That was in your packet on Monday's work session agenda. Thanks, Pam, for drafting that up. It was at the request of Emergicare in order to have Medicare Medicaid increases, and it's sorely overdue for all paid and volunteer agencies. So normally we don't vote on a letter of support, but I could. So
Vote on a letter of support? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the letter of support for House Bill 2434 related to emergency medical services for Medicaid recipients and their associated rates.
A second. And my general view of it is this would be like a resolution, just that the board supports the action and promote it, beyond just our public meetings.
okay. Motion was made and seconded. Discussion?
No, I think that, we've had enough meetings to discussing this issue that everybody knows what the problem is. And I think that with the situation, the financial situation in the state being what it is, that they're in a position to address this, and they should do everything they can, because the clock was ticking 10 years ago. So something needs to be done, and this would be a good time to do it.
Good. All those in favor of the motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. I have some commissioner comments. Do either of you have anything you want to say? All right. Let me just briefly turn your attention to the Refugee Resettlement Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment Report. It's 15 pages. I'll just gloss over a few of the high points. We hired MCM Consulting to do this. They had one of their experts on resettlement do a report. The main question that we were posing to them was how many refugees could Warren County take? We know that already several have come to Warren County, kind of independent of anything we've done. They've worked through churches individually and acquired work locally as well. So it's kind of already underway, and our question is how many could we comfortably take with the resources that we have? The answer to that, of course, depends on who was their response. Are we talking 20 to 40-year-old men, or are we talking 20 to 40-year-old women with children, or 60-year-old retirees or something like that? And so their answer kind of varies based on that question. But they have supplied us with diagrams on how to go through the admissions program, the USRAP, the United States Refugee Admissions Program. They ran a little bit of a cost-benefit analysis and pointed out, as you would expect, the possible chain migration. They do receive, all individuals receive $900 from the United States government when they first arrive, and then it's not much. And then they get supplemental security income benefits, as well as a match. As you know, the president said that we would be taking 100,000. There is some talk of trying to increase that, particularly as the war continues to go on and millions of people are being displaced. There's a good analysis of their religion, their economy and what they're used to, their health care, all worth reading. One thing to highlight, which they specifically highlighted, is that Ukrainians actually, in terms of risk, have the highest of any country in the years of life lost due to alcoholism. On average, they consume 14 liters of pure alcohol per person per year. So one caution, I guess, from their perspective was like the rules related to drunk driving in Ukraine are radically different than they are here, and so that's definitely something to keep an eye out for and make sure that public transportation is common, because the punishment there is not like it is here. They did an analysis of utility services and potential use, transportation, housing, education, etc. They basically said that the only place that could take it would be the city of Warren, Conewago Township, some of Broken Straw, maybe Youngsville Borough, some of Pleasant, and some of Glade. Realistically, the services in the rest of the county are not there in order to take anybody. Economically, basically they said there's no doubt you could take 15 people, which is probably pretty close to what we already have, frankly. You could easily go up to 50, maybe even 80 with the existing services that we have in place as it is, without really feeling much of a negative impact. So in some ways, like transportation, you could go more. Utility services, you could go more. Healthcare, maybe more. But really with the economy and education in particular, you can't flood the school district with too many kids. It's looking like 50 would be the comfortable max. Which is good. I mean, that's what we were hoping to get out of this. Was
Yes,
I
yeah.
had no idea if this was 10 people or 1,000 people.
Right.
And based on the analysis, it looks like we could take a few dozen, 4 dozen pretty comfortably. So, very good. I'll send this report to you, and if you have any, I don't have anything more than what I just read you, so I'll send you the report if you're interested in reading it. But that gives us, I think, at least a starting point. The churches are kind of off and going on their own, so I think what I'll do at this point is share the findings of that report with the Ministerial Association and see if there's any other way that we can be helpful. Otherwise, my perspective would be, let's not get in the way of something that's working.
Well, should we circulate that report to all the individuals that we had meeting with that made
Yeah.
the recommendation as well?
Certainly.
That would be, so that everyone that has, needs to be educated about those opportunities involved.
Can do.
Does the Ministerial Association actually have a committee managing this or working on this, or or is it just basically kind of a loose independent affiliation, or?
I went and met with the Ministerial Association particularly about this issue. It didn't sound like they had any particular subcommittee. I think just
Okay.
everybody was there and engaged. The Lutheran, First Lutheran is really the church that is kind of driving it, and I,
Okay.
to some extent, appointed Jeff, oh bother, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name, Pastor Jeff, we'll call him.
Okay, Pastor Jeff from
On,
First Lutheran.
Yes, he is kind of taking the lead on liaising, so
Okay.
if there's anything or any way that we can help, then I'm sure they would reach out, but I'll go ahead and extend the offer again.
There were individuals that wanted to house somebody, how would that work?
There is a standard application process on the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's website. If individuals wanted to help out, they would be able to directly apply through that website. We were more talking about trying to help the churches coordinate with resources like this so that you could get I don't want to say sizable amount of people, but you know, if it's just like one family, they're not going to stay. But if there's 5 families or something, then that might be enough people to actually kick off chain migration and, you know, kind of create a little.
If there's an individual at a big home that's empty, maybe they would be willing to
Yeah.
house some people.
Well, for now, if you're aware of a family like that wants to, I would encourage them first to go to their pastor and see if they're affiliated with the church, and see if their church would be willing to somehow help them out with that. Because one point that was made in the Lutheran Services, I forget the full title, the organization that deals with immigration and refugees. Their point was that it costs about $5,000 a year for the families to host somebody, and so that's easier borne by a whole church than it is an individual.
Gotcha.
So, but anyway, that would be the first route. If they're not affiliated with or otherwise don't have a contact, they could feel free to call our office, and we can refer the information, as we have done, to Pastor Jeff or others that might be fitting.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Okay. Other updates on any of the boards that you sit on?
No, I was at the Rouse Estates Compensation Committee, and they outlined a lot of the changes that need to be made to try and retain some of the talent that they have and recruit from a monetary perspective and wage rates and benefits, and so they're trying to streamline some of that, but it seems like it's helped stop the bleed, but there's still a huge shortfall in the healthcare arena of staff that are talented, and lots of empty positions that they're trying to recruit for. That's all I had.
One thing I would add is that Brent Davis, the Erie County Executive, PJ Wendell, Chautauqua County Executive, and myself have hosted a couple of meetings now at the Erie Fusion Cell, which is a new project specifically focused on going after big federal grants, especially for the region. So Ashtabula, Erie, and Chautauqua, for instance, are going after a grant together to build seawalls based on the transportation bill, I believe. We're all looking to go after grants specific to EMS and emergency services, as well as it'll work well, I believe, with Commissioner Eggleston's Rural Roads Initiative. They're mapping those kinds of things, and so all of us counties, like Venango, Warren, Crawford, Erie, Chautauqua, and Ashtabula, could all put in one big application for dirt, gravel roads or something like that. And then broadband, of course, is the other big one, and that's probably the number one focus right now. So you'd be very welcome to go up to Erie and see the space. It's at the Velasco Library. There's I hope they wouldn't be offended at what I'll call them nerds sitting there with their very, very expensive and nice CAD systems and GIS systems, and they're mapping away and looking at grants and that sort of thing. So the working group has been going very well, I think, and the next step for us is to send Brian Bowl up for a day to kind of compare notes and see what kind of data they already have access to, because they have subscribed to some very sizable GIS systems, and so their perspective was, why would you go buy $2,000 access to this when you can just look over my shoulder kind of thing. So
I don't know that the GIS software company would appreciate that, but.
well, they bought it as the region, from what I understand.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. I believe Brent intentionally set it up so that there was an understanding that all of us counties are working together on this.
That's great.
So if there's any agreement that needs reviewed, just let me know.
So there will be a contribution ask. There's no free lunch, but it's based on proportion of population. So the ultimate program, the last number I saw was 255,000, and so we would have 10,000 or something into it. And that would produce a report by a couple of professors on what the opportunities are. It's the economic stuff that I've been talking about for a couple of years, except I've been talking about in a big picture scheme. This would be actually identifying certain tracks, certain types of education needed, and so forth. So when Brent gets that available, I'll be sure to send it over, but, you know, I've been spending a lot of time and effort on it, so I would love to spend some money essentially to have someone else actually do the work and kind of bring that home. So we are going for a state grant to see if we can get a good portion of that paid for, but I would expect by the first June meeting to have some sort of a number, but again, it would be relatively low when you're talking about the population of Chautauqua and Erie, and even Crawford compared to us. So I think it'll be of great benefit to us and frankly, pretty minimal cost.
Have they put presentations together or any type of materials that we could review?
Yes. I have a document from them, yes.
Okay, that would be great if you could forward.
Yep. Yeah, I'll send that over. So I'll send the Ukraine thing and the economic development proposal. All right. Anything else?
Right here.
Then I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.